Hey y'all, what's going on? Authentic Glow Coaching presents the Confidence Catalyst. And today I'm going to get into season 2, episode 2, money and confidence. And, this is a really perfect segue into what's actually going on taking place in our current events as we will back to government class, because it's just so on point. So we're going to get into as many points as possible to make the episode as full and as rich as we need it to be. Because, of course, we're into our particular mode now, which is what, Antasia? Well, rich chick energy. So with no further ado, this is where our clients simply glow, okay? That's because we put the Q in client confidence. Our clients simply glow. Now, glow ticket topics for today is, like I said, money and confidence for season 2, episode 2. And so the glow ticket topics is really about having the conversations that truly matter. Okay, so no further introductions are necessary. Make sure that we like and subscribe and follow on our other platforms for more content. Okay, so if you are ready, you can grab some coffee if you like, something to drink, and or a pen or piece of paper. But I'm just going to go through this as quickly as possible. I actually do have a slight cold. And so I will be trying to make sure we come across as clear as possible, because I know sometimes it's hard, you're stuffy, and things of that nature. Okay, but nonetheless, okay, so money and confidence. Now, every time we go into these jobs in our careers, we're doing so to provide for our families. That's one of the type of sort of reasonings and things of that nature. You might want to have some kind of extra mental for some things that are taking place, so it's supplementing what's coming in and coming out. Or you may just have side hustles, something like that. You're intermediate jobs and things like that. When things fall through, you lose something, so you're just doing something temporarily. There's temp positions. There is things that are where you have to be in that specific type of position, so that requires a certification, or you have to have a certain type of degree or diploma, and you can go no further without those particular type of forces in place and in motion. And that's just a normal idea when it comes to dealing with your career and the things that you aspire to achieve and accomplish. And so what happens when people begin to play with your money? They begin to play with your feelings. And what happens is you begin to experience thoughts and places that become unpleasant. And that unpleasantness stems from a lack. And it's so odd, right? Because money is in abundance. So you think of those things to help supplement and rise to where you're going. And instead, you encounter issues, and therefore the exact thing that you're after in somebody else's eyes is an exact opposition to the thing that you're looking at, and in a stark contrast. Now, is that okay? No, of course not. And that's what authenticity is, though. And because that's a bold answer. Your confidence allows you to think that way. And so when you are trying to really figure out how to move forward and allow yourself to have that space that is required, when you are in the midst of dreaming, you'll be surprised that there's way more people who's going to want to cause you lack than there is people who really wish to see you succeed. I'm going to repeat that again. There is way more people who wish to cause you lack than there is people who really wish to see you succeed. One more time. Okay, let's say it together. There is way more people who wish you lack in your career than there is people who wish you success in your career. So write that down. If you don't come away with nothing else, come away with that one thought on a piece of paper and read it and meditate on it every day, night, daily, every 3, 4, 6 times a day. As many times as you can. Put it on your vision board. And those few people who are really willing to help you succeed in your money and confidence, as they go hand in hand, those are the people that you encourage relationships with. Those are the people that you strengthen your bonds with. Everybody else, you weaken them. You basically will sever every tie to any entity that is doing everything else but helping you succeed. When you get to that point, you have built your confidence because you have recognized people for who they were. When you have seen their true colors and have acted accordingly, you have allowed your confidence level to get charged. So now you're at focusing on 100% battery. When you allow yourself to feel as though you're doing something appropriate by choosing to sever those ties, and you charge yourself a little bit more. You went from 75 to 80%. Oh, they can't stand that. But the weaker and the further the connection gets from closeness, because of the things that you sincerely have understood as to why they acted that way, and you chose to allow that to be outside of your values, and hold steadfast to that thought, no matter what anything that is said or was said by anybody. Because when you look at a truth, that is indisputable. Okay? Now, when you are doing that, let's say you're at 80%, somebody comes around and they try to make you think otherwise, and you still hold steadfast to that and just let that go in one ear and out the other, if you will. Now you're at 85%. Okay? And here comes another Dick, John, and Joe with the same, trying to get you to think that something's wrong with that, and you held steadfast. Now you're at 90%. Okay? And the most crucial one may be one of the closest ones to you. And as soon as they come around talking that yada yada, and you have chosen a steadfast, steady course, 95% has now become 100% charged. Regardless. Every time you did it, it charged your battery a little more. You became a little closer, a little more successful. And they have fallen so far that they are so unable to even move nowhere near the position that you're at. I heard this by Kim Jimenez's husband, Chris, and he was saying that the competition can get so rattled up in fear that therefore it makes it so easy for you to succeed now, because the competition has stalled out. So it's really no competition now because everybody's so scared. And so it makes it easier for you to succeed. That's what we want. Because every time you chose to speak derogatorily about my money, about finances, about the way that I wanted to have my own dreams manifest, whether it's a house, a home, a husband, you spoke ill of those things and made ways and finances that became, in your eyes, harder for a person or myself or any listener to achieve their goals. That was what your whole entire purpose and sole idea is for living. It's to make things that much more harder. And when you are that type of person, you know that your replica is what you reap. You have a hard, disgruntled atmosphere around you at all times. So it makes it easy to hold steadfast to that thought and emotion in the first place. Like, nah, you're not really rocking with me. So I'm going to choose to rock with those who are helping myself succeed the way that I wish to. And no one or nothing is going to shake that belief. Okay. And so now you're at the cutoff limit. Now you can go no further than 100%. So now it's like, oh, wow, we're not even going to come over there no more. We're going to just go ahead on and give her what she wants. Oh, okay. We ain't even going to go ahead on and act that way then. I'm just going to give it to her just because it's Tuesday. I'm just going to go ahead on because the past has revealed that they have sincerely tried. And when we say they, let's just pinpoint, let's just give them some faces. Family members, okay, church folk, okay, fellow motorists, okay, neighborhood communities, okay. It can be people who supposed to have been, you know what I mean, caregivers. You can, I mean, let's just be real. Let's just put a face with a pen and pin it there on the wall. Let's just pin it. Why not at this point? Because when you really like, okay, well, cool, let's just go ahead on and give it though then because it's Wednesday. And we, of course, are speaking of monetary and things of that nature. That builds your confidence. Yeah, it is Wednesday. Yeah, but on last Tuesday, about 4 or 5 years ago, you was the main one throwing the stones, though. So they don't want to think about that. It's easier just to cooperate now at this point because you know because they have and you know what's really sad when you realize that somebody has realized has realized reality for what has sincerely taken place. Oh, Lord God forbid. Okay, they should. You are extremely paranoid to the point where you're immobilized to do anything else but what I commanded because of the sincere audacity of the flakiness and the pain and the sabotage that y'all has chosen repeatedly to manifest and cause to have happened. That's not where it's at. That's not okay. That's selfish. That's derogatory. That's inconsiderate. That's a signal and cue that you immature, and that when money comes your way, you have no idea how to handle anything about that success. And the spirit that says harmonious. You got $1 billion in your pocket, and the whole time you ain't sold a smile in like 2 or 4 weeks. You miserable. You hate that you have something that's so readily accessible. But see, that speaks to a person who has confidence, as though, wow, this is what you have. So I doubt that you have it long, because your attitude stinks. And it's just, that's just really what the facts of reality of having responsibility when it comes to dealing with your finances. And even people who wish you a certain way in finances that are ill as well, you will find that they most likely will not have success and financial rewards and returns on their own terms. And that's exactly what they get. Like, let's say you take a microscope, right? And the person who you notice, like, oh, wow, okay, you're not going to have it long. And then you look back and you see exactly why with the microscope. You're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, there's one reason. Oh, okay, well, here's another one over here. And then you can just keep the microscope on it to the point where you're like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, this is not what's happening. So, of course, you're not going to want to really be there, because the person who is really causing all of the type of things, you find they're not a joy to be around. You find that their own finances are horrid. You find that their confidence is rooted in things that are derogatory, and that's why they have yet to feel as though they're as successful as they are. You're not, and like the fact that you are really that low in your level thoughts and thinking, and wish that upon somebody else because that's something that you've experienced, says that you are so low in vibrating that it's an immediate turnoff. So it makes charging easier than a person may have even thought. That's where the guy Chris from Kim Gemini is the business lounge husbands comes into play. His logic is really rooted in a solidified foundation. Like, bro, that competition is so weak, it's so far off. And what do they say? You want to be the best, you got to go against the best, not the weakling who finances is erect, and that's why they wishing you something else, because that's weak-minded. And when people are so adamant to bring weakness into your life, really take a microscope and look at why. When you figure out the microscope and you say, oh, okay, well, that's why you're so upset. Well, maybe that was your fault. Maybe you made a decision that was incorrect and now you're suffering from it. So you think I want parts of that? No, I don't. You think that I want to be around and have that rubbed off on me? Well, you thought wrong. And I've proven that to you over and over and over again. So yes, confidence levels have skyrocketed. Yes, I have left you in the past. Yes, I have left you behind. Yes, I have chosen to distance myself from you. Yes, I have chosen to create space so I don't have to be bothered with you and your thoughts. Yes, I have did that. Yes, I'm proud of myself for doing that. Yes, I am. My children will see that as an example. Yes, they will. And I am grateful for that. Yes, I am. Is there anything else that you would like to know? And most likely they're not going to want to call you. So the short answer is they have nothing left to say, because their behavior has proven who their characteristics are at a most sincere point and moment in time. And that in and of itself is ultimately where you have to find yourself out with your money and confidence. Because when you associate with people who are the best of the best, in order to be the best, you got to be the best. The best of the best most likely has Roses and Bentleys, or just has a really great portfolio, or a really great credit history, or even payment, just has a great history with finances just in general. Like, your record is pristine. Like, that type of energy is really hard to beat. So as they say, and I know my girls already know this, but if you can't beat them, then join them. If you want excellency in finances as you admire in somebody else, then you have to kind of sort of adopt some of their characteristics, some of their traits, some of their behaviors, some of their physical entities, their skin tones. You have to be able to kind of sort of recognize a true, authentic person and then match their energy. And because that's the only thing they're going to accept now. And we know that, and we understand that. That's the scary part. That's half the battle. Knowing that they are not going to really allow just for anything and everybody to sit at their table. You know what I mean? That requires some type of superhuman strength. Okay? And therefore, it's not for everybody. I mean, you really want to get your finances in order, that's an appropriate form of conduct. And I'm just going to say it here on the Confidence Catalyst, because when you think about the appropriate courses of behavior, please and thank you always, it goes way further than people may give it credit for. But, that's a personal choice and decision to give credit where credit is due or not. To take credit or give credit where credit is due is also another personal choice and decision. I had a credit card and I was forced to keep getting credit cards, right? I mean, it's just a part of the job description. And so, okay, cool, sign up. Okay, why is that a problem? If somebody signs up and they're as old as they are, why is it in your business? You know what I mean? At first, I was always like wanting to root for this person. And then as I got older, I began to understand where the other people like myself began to come from. So now we coming from a certain place together, and it's authentic, it's sincere. It's something that is really a part of a certain type of energetic field. And I don't really believe anything is wrong with that. I just don't see that as something that's a problem. I just don't. I personally speaking, I don't think nothing is wrong with that. So, you got to really just be mindful of what's going on and taking place. Because at the end of the day, you got to take care of you. You got to make sure that you're okay. And every time the haters have really hated on you, this is going to be something new. But write this down as well. That's just confirmation that you on the right path, sweetheart. Okay, every time somebody really wants to come at your neck, just let that confirm that you're really doing something right, and it's really gotten noticed. Okay, because we immediately go to the left. Rah. Nah. When somebody really wants to take the time out to feel like we gonna meet up and we gonna do this to you and we gonna fight, or my cousins ain't about to come over, it's like we about to jump you or whatever. Just know. Like, I mean, sometimes people can say those things and they playing, or it's really gotten that serious or whatever else. But normally, when somebody's just constantly that way, when I'm thinking about that for real, that just is a cue that I'm really fly for real. I'm really that type of entity, and they just can't take it. That's ultimately what that says most of the time. Every time I had somebody call and say something to me, or say something that was just out of the way, that was derogatory, on a voicemail, or rather in the hallway or whatever else, that just allowed for myself to realize that I was walking in flow. Okay, that I had such a flowing personality that they just went to the wayside and went ziggity boo. Okay, and once you get to that point, it's not about even jumping somebody. Most likely, when you really feel like somebody is really helping you get to that point in time, it's more so just about a connection of being able to feel like, wow, you get me. I can relate to this entity. That's ultimately not about making somebody else feel as though you sabotage me, because when you really are about your business, there's no need for nobody to feel that way about you. But when you create that type of energy that says, yeah, we not gonna really trust you or him or her or whatever else, that has put in motion an idea that is more so less about connection, but what it is that you can do for me. You see what I mean? And again, that's totally eradicates the truth of it. And what's sad about eradicating things that are really sincere is as though it's done to the point where you just look back and you just feel salty. You know what I mean? You just look back and with a sincere sense of sadness, because you sincerely allowed yourself to fall by the wayside instead of going for your dreams and doing the best that was really able and making differences in people's lives. And that was a costly decision, speaking of money and confidence as well. So, again, just be mindful, keep going forward in your money pursuits, and eventually you will get there. I promise you. You just got to really keep the faith. Weed out the people who just are only there to witness your failure. You know what I mean? Whenever you're succeeding, that they're long gone. They never are there. I mean, that means that they are never really around when you are experiencing a successful event or moment and point of something that's taking place in your life in this time frame. That is strictly about how can I be better. They're never there. And just take that as a seed of wisdom about people's characters and behaviors. You know what I mean? In order to preserve your ability to move forward. because ultimately that's really what it's all about. Moving forward in the midst of all things that are derogatory. There's really no greater confidence catalyst than that. Anyway, all right. I love you all. Have a great day. Bye.